we filming, are we?
All right, full on day today because we actually took time to enjoy our long weekend, spend time with family, put some projects on hold.
Napped.
Yeah.
I napped.
So today there's a little backlog of projects.
Well, last week we had a fair amount of curveballs came our way and many unexpected things happened. So we're feeling like we're behind. We're not, but we feel like we are. So there's a few things that we've got to reevaluate how we were going to spend our week and what our time looks like. So we're going to do a video in a day.
But that's homesteading, you know, like the timeframes and dates that you put on things are more often than not your own. And so the pressures you put on stuff is more often than not your own pressure. So it just means you reevaluate your to-do list.
Yep.
Top of that list then, stuff that we didn't get to. Well, we got a chicken coop built, and that was Friday's video, and I got lots of great feedback out of that. So there's some ideas and upgrades and things that need to happen there.
The crops are working. The crops. The 4 lines of things that we planted.
Let's call it crops.
And the grapes have 1, 2, 4 grapes have sprouted.
Yep. So we'll get around, show you what's happening around the property with the animals, in the gardens, and the one project that we didn't get ahead on last week that we'll make a start on today is our long-term storage space pantry. I think we're calling it Pantry. It's just, we've got to give it a name. So it's our shipping container that we're converting into like bulk food storage.
And we've brought everything out.
Yeah.
And it's now sitting in the shed.
So I'm sure in the last few videos in the background, there's been like junk everywhere.
It's a mess and it's getting to us.
So I want to get ready to insulate that. So that's on the cards, but that is plenty for one day, I reckon.
It's very early though, because it is going to be in the mid-30s here this week. So we're going to try and get as much as we can done before it gets too hot. And then we can both go sit on our computers under the fan.
Yeah. So Missy was out this morning, and I'm not sure if that's just an indication that there was a problem with the fence or she was hungry. Here she is. Peaches on the left, Missy on the right, and here comes Hamilton. Couple of things. I finally got around to changing that IBC, so it's now on the inside. So that funky little setup of electric fence there, maybe someone snuck under. I doubt it. It's not that low. But if I look way down the back, I think I can see something going on with a sloppy bit of electric fence down there. So let's go check it out. How about we turn this off before we get there? So much tilled soil in this space. Will we get to do a pig move this week? Maybe. Maybe later in the week. Not a huge issue. Just the grass is just kind of, I don't think she went out through there. Let's check the main run, the upper corridor. Well, this is a problem. See, they kind of nose right up to the fence. Like they push as much as they can because they basically want all this ground. And so they'll kind of push the limits until their nose is almost touching. And sometimes that means they flick stuff up onto it. Well, that all looks fine. I reckon she just might have walked straight through it. They have been fighting a little bit lately, so if 1 or 2 of them are on heat and there's kind of a bit of activity and jostling going on, sometimes one will get pushed onto or through the fence. She didn't go far. Ali got up this morning and just called out, "One of your pigs is out." So, you know, she just wandered back in for food. That was nice and easy. We'll test the fence and just make sure there's a zap on it. That log pushing on it like that might have drained the battery a bit. If it earths out, if you get a fence touching somewhere like that, it can just suck all the power out of the battery because every pulse is going straight into ground. 4.3 kilovolts, 0.6 amps. Look, it's not nothing, that's a zap, but it could be better. Alrighty, pigs sorted. Let's go feed chickens and then check out this chicken coop. I've already moved it a couple of times. The chooks have spent the weekend in here. I did take that electric fence down because we had family camping literally right next to them, so I wasn't worried about predators. And you all pulled me up on the fact that I didn't put a roost in for them, so never fear, I got that in for their first night, but I didn't love it. And of all the feedback that I got, a common theme was try to make as many of the kind of functions and facilities of this coop as attached to the coop as possible so that it just makes it easier to move. So with that in mind, let's get a new roost installed for them. The general idea here is I've got a branch, it's cut to the width of the coop there, and I love using branches because it's got varied thicknesses and varied kind of textures on it. Don't use smooth timbers like dowels when you make a chicken roost. Their feet like to be able to actually grip, and don't use flat or squared timbers either. It's not good for their toes. So this will work great. I'm just going to hang it. The only consideration is as they all hop up one after the other, are they going to make that thing swing? And is that going to be too annoying for them? If I find that happens, we'll just anchor it with a couple more wires. But anyway, nice, easy install. Let's get this installed for them. All right, well, we won't really know how this is going to work until tonight when we see them jump up on it, but I've done similar roosts like this for them in the past. And yeah, as I say, other than the little swinging motion, which, hey, they're birds, balancing is kind of part of their deal, I think they'll be fine, but if I have to, I can just kind of anchor it down. The one thing I can figure out now, and a lot of you guys were concerned about this, is temperature. So some of you were saying, you've used tin, that's terrible, it's going to be a hot box. I mean, I've used about 20% tin on this. The rest of it is chicken mesh. And then some people said, you've used too much chicken mesh, it's gonna be a wind tunnel. So look, you can't win in the comments section. We are in the middle of the bush here. We don't get big winds. And if they do come in, I suppose I could put another piece of tin in on one side, but then I would be concerned about heat. And I'm more concerned about heat than I am about a little bit of wind. What I wanna do is, this is a little probe thermometer. I'm gonna hang that down in there and we're gonna see what that temperature gets up to today. So I'll keep coming back and checking this today. Look, if it was to get sort of 35 plus, which I don't think it will, I could always add a few ice cubes to their water if it got stinking hot in there, but it's only gonna be 32 max today. And here in the shade, I reckon it's gonna be at least a couple of degrees cooler. So give us an update on our little cropping area.
We've got onions. These little guys have actually, like, they're going gangbusters. And we've got the wheat that has popped its way through. Looks like a pretty good success rate. We won't know for potatoes for a little while. Irrigation is actually working better than I thought it would.
So one little thing that I have fixed here is I pinned this out quite tight. And because we've done rows that are like drills that we've left shallowed out, like dished out, we've put the irrigation, the dripper line, just upslope of the drill line, and that's causing the water to soak down in there. And I think that's working really well here.
Super great.
So well that I think we'll probably have to mulch this soon once the plants are established enough, yeah?
Yep.
So what do you want to keep going with this? Because this is 4 rows. We've got a couple of trees to take out.
Well, I've got more potatoes that I've got to put in, and we'll lose them if we don't plant them soon. Corn is another thing. I've already got some in the garden, but I'd like to do more.
Well, I've got plenty more of this dripper line that we can just keep snaking down the hill here. So I reckon I'm going to take out at least these 2 next trees and get the next 2 rows in. While we're here, let's head over to our little vineyard. This is exciting. So
as well as the durifs that are going great, we have Shiraz. So it's amazing, like once, it takes ages for the buds to actually burst, but once they do, yeah, it's all about to go. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that, but that there, see this part here? That's what's about to burst forth. Because this is the durif's second year, we've had to put this training wire higher. So hopefully pretty soon these will latch on and we can start to train them across this way. And I'm really hoping that third one is going to come good. It looks like it's going to here, but you know what I'm not good at? Patience.
I reckon it's 11 o'clock and it is stinking hot. It's way too hot to be hand cutting rows for vegetables. So this is an afternoon gig. I've got 1 done, dripper line installed for 2. Now, speaking of hot, let's go and see what the temperature on that chicken coop is. All right, I just checked. It's actually 1/4 to midday. So 31.9 degrees in the shade. So one of the things I'm paying particular attention to on a hot day is, do I have all my chickens standing almost dead still with their mouths wide open? It's the way they try to expel heat from their bodies. Yeah, there's a few with mouths open, but they're also roaming around looking for insects and minerals, and they're pecking at the ground. So they're quite active. They don't look distressed. Plenty of water back there in their feeder. Just keep their water topped up and make sure they've got access to a nice breezy coop, plenty of shade. All right, let's go and see what their temperature is in the sun. 35.9, so a good 4 degrees cooler in the shade of that chicken coop. I know it seems a bit counterintuitive. It's hot tin, isn't it? But that hot tin is mostly reflecting the heat back. And then what is warming up as far as the tin goes itself is being counteracted by the fact that we've got a breeze underneath it and shade. So a good 4 degrees cooler for those chooks. All right, last task of the morning, and I'm glad it's one in the shade, but I'm kind of embarrassed about this mess behind us. I was just gonna like blurry it all out.
I'd be embarrassed if it was like this for no good reason.
Okay, fair enough. So the installation of the big Bluetti power station that we did, we call her Big Bertha, was in this, that's all right, isn't it? Oh, probably offend, so sorry if your name's Bertha. Is in the end of that shipping container there. So it kind of necessitated a sudden clearing out of all of the stuff that's been in long-term storage, which is an opportunity to go through it all, but it also escalated the project that you've been keen to do, which has been a pantry project.
The cupboards nearly falling off the wall with the sheer weight of the tin goods I was saving was necessitating that as well.
So we've just done a really big stockpile shop. You've got heaps of canned goods that kind of need a home. Why don't we head in there now? It's a bit of a blank canvas and you can talk us through what your thoughts are.
It's hot in here.
I can tell you exactly how hot. So it is currently 34.9 degrees in here, which coincidentally, we just did a temperature reading outside. That's the exact temperature outside in the sun. But I held this against the wall, 42.8 degrees.
I believe that.
So there's a good 7 more degrees and it's radiating. You can kind of feel it.
Yeah.
Your face is getting redder by the second. So in order to turn this into proper storage, we got to insulate.
The difference between being in here on a day like today and being inside the tiny house on a day like today, it's completely bearable inside the tiny house. The insulation makes the world of difference.
Huge. We were going to do something called foil board, which looked like it was going to be a nice, easy installation, but even the thickest, which I think is 40 mil, the best R value, which is a measurement of insulating capacity, was like 0.9 to 1.1. Well, we can get the cheap earth wall bats and they're at 2.5 at least. So our wonky week last week meant that we weren't able to pick them up, but I want to head up there this week and get them. And we're not even going to frame them in. We're just going to get gal strapping and strap them to the wall.
Yeah.
And then you've got some shelving units.
So these have been bought in preparation. Like, I don't have enough of a stockpile to warrant having all of these, but I'm currently growing so much food and saving all of my jars.
Yep.
So by the end of this summer, I want to have made my own passata, my own tomatoes, tin tomatoes, that sort of thing, and preserved them all. So I need somewhere to put them, but I also need somewhere climate controlled to store everything.
So since we have these shelves, I know it's a little bit kind of back to front. Why don't we put a set together? Because you've already got all your canned goods sitting there waiting.
At least we can do something.
Yeah, let's put them together and see how it's going to work because they are going to line this wall, right?
Yeah, so the idea that I have is like a bit of a bench for all your homebrew and stuff on one end, the freezer, and just a whole line of shelves so that we can really kind of build up that stockpile of essentials. Like, I get toilet paper by the box, and we live in a tiny house. The only way that we can live like this and do that is by having this kind of storage. I'm kind of in half a mind that we're going to end up having to dig our own root cellar as well. Doesn't have to be a big one, but so that we can keep things like our onions and garlic and potatoes and carrots and everything like that. Yeah. I'm currently watching videos on how we can put that sort of thing together.
Right, that would be a cool project.
That would be a cool project. So we'll see.
All right, let's get a set of shelves built
and
stock them full of canned goods and stuff that you've just recently bought.
Well, I need to get them out of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to, the cupboard's going to fall off of the, Regan keeps yelling at me, don't put anything more in there.
Yeah, they're not kind of rated.
No.
Okay, that's next. And then I think we're going to call that a day because I don't know about you, but I'm sweating.
Yep, it's hot in here.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, that'll do quite nicely for now. So I'm going to keep kind of 2 or 3 of each in the pantry, and then as I need to restock, I can come out here and restock. This is the start of my pantry.
So this is shelf unit 1 of 4 I think we bought. Is that going to be enough? I think we measured that we could get 5 or 6 units.
I think I'm going to get 2 more.
Yeah.
Just so that they match. That's my OCD.
All right, this is a much more sensible time of day / temperature to be planting potatoes.
Still pretty hot.
Yeah, I think it's like 34 in direct sun still. All right, Kirsty's going to head up to the gardens because she wants to rip out all of the snow peas because they're done, right?
Snow peas are all unhappy with the heat.
Yeah, what's going in their place?
Tomatoes.
All right,
so I can reuse
trellis.
the trellis, yeah.
Perfect. So I'll plant these potatoes, you do that. But before we do that, we wanted to have a chat to you guys real quick because now that we have got a little bit more free time with the podcast not being on, we've been toying with the idea of going live, like live streaming.
Like doing a live stream.
Yeah, why?
It's something that a lot of people have reached out to us about doing something a little bit more interactive.
Yeah.
Which that definitely would be.
So we do quite a bit of our like chat, comments sort of interactivity over on our Patreon because it's hard to do that here on YouTube if that's where you're watching this. But a live stream, I don't know. I've never done one before.
I've never done one before either. It wouldn't be able to be us doing something.
Yeah, it's not going to be like Regan and Kirsty live building a chicken coop, but I think
nobody wants to see that.
Are we showing our age here that we're just basically describing what a live stream is to everyone out there that already knows what a live stream is? The big question we have is it something that you're interested in?
Yeah.
And this time slot sort of works for us, a Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening.
Yes.
So I think we've committed to, we're going to do it next week. But the question we have is, would you watch? What would you want to know? What would you want us to chat about? And what time suits you?
Next week's a good opportunity because our eldest is home for a week. And so Noah can help us with all the technical side of that. We don't normally have that opportunity, which is why we're thinking next Tuesday would be a great idea.
Yeah, just to test it out. So I'm thinking, I don't know how long, like an hour or 2 maybe, but starting when? 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock?
2 hours. What would we talk about for 2 hours?
I mean, I guess it depends like how many like questions and kind of interactive chats we get. Anyway, that's the idea. Let's just give it a go. So next week, this time roughly, hit us up in the comments what time slot works for you.
We'll go with the average.
All right, you've got snow peas to rip out.
Yes.
I've got potatoes to plant. That's going to do it for this video. We'll see you on the next one. And then we'll see you next week when we're live.